this isn't to just scare people. All the stuff we talk about, right? It's like if there's a hurricane coming, you would warn people there's a hurricane coming so they can prepare, right? You don't just say, oh, there's maybe a hurricane coming, let's look the other way and not do anything about it. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
that's a yes.
I understand that it can be scary, but for me personally, that's why I feel better knowing about it, knowing what's going on, so that I can take action, so that I can be prepared. But it's definitely a journey for a lot of people. There are people who are just hopeful that things will just kind of work itself out, and I think what we need is more action, more education on a wider level. But there is hope, though, for me, that a lot of people are coming to me who maybe in the past weren't as eager to hear or listen or learn, and say what resources are available. You know, I've been watching some of your videos, or I want to talk to you more about this or that and dig into it. So that's always helpful for me.
There you go.
Gold Rush Hour 2.
How come you like doing this so much?
Oh, I love it. Well,
I know you do.
I do.
Every time we talk about it, you're so excited.
Well, it's so good to mix it up and get out of the studio, and it's just fun to have, you know, authentic conversations and change up the scenery. I mean, it's funny how much I actually haven't explored Arizona.
Oh, really? Not
Yeah.
yet?
No, not yet.
It's because you're too busy trying to gather all the information for everyone on our
true.
channel. So dedicated.
I'm always like this. That's maybe why I'm so excited about getting out and about. Yeah, you spend so much time, you know, deep in the weeds researching, that it's nice to get out and get some fresh air and mix it up.
So what did you want to talk about today?
This week, it's been all a buzz, obviously, that gold finally reached the 3,000, you know, spot price threshold, crossed over it, and looks like it's going to keep going. And I mean, it's not even about, of course, the dollar amount. It's just kind of about what that represents and what that means.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people have been waiting for a long
Yeah.
time for this kind of price action. You know, and I think people ask a lot of times, it's a psychological thing, right? It breaking over 3,000. For everybody who owns it, they're like, yes, over 3,000. But for people who haven't bought yet, they get maybe a little bit concerned, like, okay, now what? Is it too late? Should I not buy?
I see it all the time. People saying, you know, oh, I wish I had bought when. I wish I had bought in 2020. Oh, I wish I had bought then. It's too late to buy now. And it's funny, though, because when you read those comments, that's the exact same thing people were saying 5 years before that, right? And for me, again, that's like when I look at the price of gold, it's not just about, like you said, it's a psychological threshold, but it's really about what it means that's going on in the world to me.
Yeah.
What it represents, right? Like, obviously, we have inflation that's not coming down. The Fed actually, I think just about half an hour ago, came out and said that no rate cuts as of now, right? Why? Well, inflation's not cooling. I mean, printing isn't stopping. We have conflict continuing to go on. All of these things that are happening where it's like, there's a reason that gold has crossed this threshold now. I think it normally takes, on average, I read the other day, you know, however many days to hit a new $500 mark, and this one happened in like 200 days, something like that. So it's happening quicker, and I think a lot of people feel that.
When people say like, "Oh no, I should have bought a long time ago," hindsight's always 2020, right? But I was having a conversation with a life insurance guy the other day. I was trying to tell him like, well, with the amount of money that we're printing now, that $1 million, when somebody needs it like 40 years from now, is not going to be worth anything.
Right.
So it's like you're giving the insurance company all this money now, which has a higher present value, right, for a product that in the end, when your kids need it, is going to be virtually worthless. Even if you looked at the last 50 years, the dollar's lost over 90%. So, you know, a 35-year-old person, you know, somebody your age who's buying a life insurance policy with the dollar, even if you'd bought it in the 70s, it would be worth, you know, 90% less, and you'd have spent all this money for it and it wouldn't be worth anything. But if you'd have bought gold, it's worth 4,500% more. And I think you were telling me like you could buy even more of a house with that than you could have in 1975 with the value of the gold going up.
Yeah, absolutely.
So should I buy now versus wait? The fundamental value of gold is around $13,000 an ounce. That to me is all you need to know. That means that right now, if gold was allowed to increase to the level that it should be at based upon our current levels of debt, gold should be over $13,000 an ounce. So you're buying it at $3,000, it's technically should be valued around 13 grand as of right now. With the amount of money printing that we're doing, it's not going to be long before it's worth its value is much higher than that. So short term, I don't buy gold for short term, and no one should. You should buy it as an insurance policy. It should be long term, and know that it's super undervalued now. You're holding it for the long term. You shouldn't even look at the price action. You should just buy it, get your position in place, and then let it be there for when the time you need it, which it will come.
Yeah.
When the government defaults, hyperinflation happens, a reset happens, that's when you want the gold. It's irrelevant what the price is now, because just like in Germany, 170 marks per ounce to 87 trillion marks per ounce in a 4-year time span. That's what gold will do here in the United States as well. And the goal is to hold your purchasing power even over the long term, right?
Definitely. I think there is this tendency for people to get hyper fixated on small price movements or what's happening today versus looking at the big picture, or even they get caught up on certain things. Like obviously there's been a lot of chat around gold revaluation. It's something I keep getting asked about, we keep seeing comments about, and I know Scott Bessent has come out and said, oh, we're not planning on revaluing the gold, which that's a whole nother conversation. I mean, if I was revaluing the gold, I probably wouldn't come out and tell everyone I was doing it before I was ready to do it anyway, right? Why would you do it? It makes no sense. Whether they revalue it or not officially, there's a reason, again, that the price is going up, and it's because we're talking about it. Like, you can't print this kind of US dollars and just keep the printing press running the way it is without eventually, the dollar loses its value, and of course, gold is going to be sound, true money at the end of it. That's the bottom line.
If you're on the fence and thinking, oh my gosh, I missed my chance, that's
Yeah.
so far from the truth, because gold is something that you buy to protect yourself. And the goal isn't to make a ton of money. Sure, do I think you're going to be successful with it in the end? Yeah. But is the goal of it to make a ton of money? No, it's to protect yourself. So while we're driving through this, because we have this different camera on the front here, what style, if you could have any of these houses, what's your style?
Oh, they're all beautiful.
Is it more like modern, like this one here?
That's a little bit too modern.
What
a little
about-
bit
what
too
about-
modern. That one's a little bit too old school. I think
Okay.
somewhere in the middle.
So what about this one up here on the left?
I like that a lot. It's funny, obviously I'm from southern rural Oregon originally, and so I've always considered myself such a mountain girl that when I moved to Arizona, I was kind of nervous about there not being enough trees or natural beauty. And I very quickly have come to love the desert look. I just had no idea how absolutely gorgeous Arizona was going to be until I moved here. Everything we were just talking about with gold, and again, whether or not now is a good time to buy. I know we've talked about it before. I know we've done a specific video on it before, but I think, again, there are still questions around premiums. And I think people are always interested in hearing from, your perspective. You've been in this business for 20 years. What that looks like right now, again, for these people who are kind of looking at this and wondering, is now the right time? And we've talked about from a big picture perspective, but getting a little more granular. I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can obviously watch the video. It was one of the first videos.
Yeah.
Was it the first video that
Yeah.
you and I ever did on it was the one on premiums.
We can link that too.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's a great one. You should definitely watch that. But premiums have still been historically low. I mean, crazy low versus where they've been, in the past. So nothing's changed there, and I think that means, especially if you're buying, and when you're talking about premiums, we're talking about like premiums over spot. So what's the price we're paying over spot price for any gold or silver coin? And right now, premiums on like pre-1933 gold coins, like collectible gold coins, are at the lowest we've seen in far longer than even I've been in the business. And so to me, while the spot price has been rising, premiums have been coming down. And to me, there's never been a better time to buy, because we're in a bull market for gold. Prices are rising, and we're in a low premium environment. It's just become cheaper and cheaper to own pre-1933 gold coins. And personally, that's where I hold the majority of my wealth protection, for a variety of reasons, not just because I'm getting the exposure to gold, but they've never been confiscated because of the rules on like eminent domain laws, and the value is so different per coin, and so it's they've always been exempted. There's been times Like if you were to buy now and the premiums increase, right? When demand gets super hot, then the value of those coins will accelerate more than bullion will. So just a variety of reasons to own those, but definitely premiums are still low. I mean,
Yeah.
historic lows. They just really can't get any lower than they are right now. So there's never been a better time to own them, to buy them.
Yeah. Keep stacking.
Mhm.
It's interesting right now. We are in such kind of a unique situation, I would say, with what's going on here in the United States. I mean, you look at two short-term and long-term treasury bonds, it's like everyone's preparing for a recession, but everyone's preparing for higher inflation, right? It's like very unique right now what we're seeing. I think that there's just a lot of concerns and a lot of uncertainty in general. I actually have kind of an interesting topic I don't know if you've heard about, but I think would be right up your alley for something that absolutely people should be aware of that's happening over in Europe that I'm nervous is a blueprint for what's coming to the US. Have you read anything about the ECB, the European Central Bank, preparing to use citizens' personal savings to fund investment?
To fund investment into
Yes,
what?
into government, military, and defense, as well as private capital that they need to raise. So in the United States, there's a lot more
Well, hold
liquidity.
on. What do you
Yeah.
mean by use it? You don't
Well,
mean take it
oh
directly. You
yeah.
mean like leverage it?
No, yeah. You're going to be freaked out by this. They're calling it unused savings, which is, hilarious because unused savings are just
Meaning,
savings.
does that mean savings in a bank account?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Citizens, your savings, their savings, my savings, anyone's savings that's just sitting there in your savings account. This also includes pensions, right? Anything that is considered unused
Okay.
that's sitting
Well,
there.
that sounds more like a ploy to be like, hey, we're thinking about doing this. And then people go, oh, I better spend my
Spend my
savings,
savings.
right? Like a way to almost scare people into spending what they have saved to spur economic activity
Well, so
than
that
actually doing anything.
so here's the thing.
Because that seems crazy to
Well,
me.
it is crazy. It is crazy. It might be a trick to get people to spend to obviously stimulate the economy, but in general, they have flat out come out and said that this would be incredible. It's something they need for Europe. It's something that they need to stimulate growth. The unused savings of citizens are just sitting there, not being put to use for their countries, for Europe, and that it's time to put those savings to work. And they are actively pursuing, my understanding is, some kind of process to move forward with this. Now, it is interesting too. We talked about CBDCs. I know the last time we went for a ride, they've now announced that by October of this year, they are planning on launching the digital euro.
Yes.
So, coincidence, maybe the timing of all of it. I mean, as far as forcing people to spend savings to stimulate the economy, we know with CBDCs, they can absolutely do that. Just enact a negative interest rate. I see people go, oh, I'm glad I don't live in Europe, with this going on, or I'm glad that's not my savings. But for
Yeah,
me, I
one and the
see
same.
100%. I see
Yeah.
that kind of stuff and I go, you don't think that that's a blueprint, a test run, a trial for what they could try here? You don't think if that's successful there and we needed tools available to us that we wouldn't just copy and paste?
So let me ask you a question. When you talk to people, your friends and family, about this kind of stuff, especially central bank digital currencies, what is the response? Do they believe in it? Do they get concerned about it? Do they like what's the vibe?
It's a mix. It's a mixed bag. I think there are a lot of people who get it. There are a lot of people who are just now kind of waking up to what's going on, but I still think there are a lot of people who just don't want to hear, they don't want to know, or it's almost too scary. It's overwhelming, I think, for some people. And that's why I'm always trying to say, listen, like, this isn't to just scare people. All the stuff we talk about, right? It's like if there's a hurricane coming, you would warn people there's a hurricane coming so they can prepare, right? You don't just say, oh, there's maybe a hurricane coming, let's look the other way and not do anything about it. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
that's a yes.
I understand that it can be scary, but for me personally, that's why I feel better knowing about it, knowing what's going on, so that I can take action, so that I can be prepared. But it's definitely a journey for a lot of people. I think that again, there are people who are just hopeful that things will just kind of work itself out. And I think what we need is more action, more education on a wider level. But there is hope, though, for me, that a lot of people are coming to me who maybe in the past weren't as eager to hear or listen or learn, and say what resources are available. I've been watching some of your videos, or I want to talk to you more about this or that and dig into it. So that's always helpful for me.
I don't know if you watched Daniela's interview with David Webb,
Oh, absolutely.
but
I love David Webb.
you could tell how frustrated he is because no one other than them, right, are actually doing anything to try to stop the banks from being able to pull off these kind of things. Like,
Yeah,
and I get it. There's like this diffusion of responsibility. Even like we think, well, we can just watch and we'll learn about it, but somebody else is actually going to do the work, and you know, it's just not enough. We all are going to have to do stuff together in order to really push back.
totally. I thought that was really powerful, because I've obviously been a huge fan of his work since I read and watched The Great Taking. And to see him kind of so distraught, I guess you could say, over the lack of action, the lack of support by others, and saying, like, one voice is fine, but you need a colony of voices. You need a whole chorus to come together to really enact change. And he said, what did he say? He said, I can count on one hand the amount of people who are there, and I know it wasn't you because I would know your name. It's that personal, I actually thought it was really inspiring, though, because I think I can speak for myself. It's like I like to think I am making a difference by helping educate people or open
for sure
people's
you are,
eyes.
100%.
That being said, there is something to say about actually going out there and he's boots on the ground trying to enact change. And I applaud him for that, because that's a tough gig, especially working within a system that, in my opinion, is already so far gone, but not giving up on hope and really trying to enact change from within the system. And I know we've talked before about, like, can you do it within? Do you have to go out? Do you have to knock it all down? But I think, again, you need people who have that hope and that will and that drive to be pushing these things forward. Yeah. So I give him nothing but kudos for that.
No, it's great. It's clear that it's going to take more. It's going to take a lot more than just awareness, right?
Yeah. Do you want to take on big banking? Do you want to take on?
It's definitely a scary thing, right?
Yeah, yeah. Wouldn't it be awesome? I would love to. I know it was South Dakota and Tennessee. I'm like, I'm not sure if anything's going to be happening in Arizona or neighbor state, but I'm like, you see those clips of him being the lone man there in the courtroom. He said it doesn't even have to be someone with political sway. It could just be someone who's passionate, showing up and, like, voicing. And I said, I would love to go there, and say, absolutely, let's support taking back ownership, because what he's fighting against, of course, is the illusion of ownership of your stocks.
Like video, like,
right? That's what I said.
Have Edgar come in video,
100%, and help give more exposure to it.
See if we can actually take cameras into the courtrooms or whatever.
Totally. Can you imagine how powerful that would be? Because it's no one else is out there fighting this fight, really, and it's like, I would love to support the cause, to support him, and I think it would be really powerful and bring more attention to it, because I know you've been talking for a long time. Before The Great Taking even came out, ITM, I know, had been talking about Seed & Co., had been talking about the illusion of ownership for years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost since 2016, really.
Yeah.
Is when we started talking about it. So yeah, we've known for quite some time.
I think those were the main things on my mind that's going on this week. I think it just feels, though, like every day there's so much going on. And again, I don't know if that's by design, by intention, just to keep everyone so busy and scrambled. It feels like what's up one day is down the next, and backwards and forwards and around. Everything is so fragile and interconnected. And we talk about this too all the time, that all it takes is one of those shakes of the tree, that one piece falling off, and who knows what could happen next.
Well, do you want coffee?
Yeah.
You
do? Yeah, I
Okay.
can go for a cup.
All right. Cartel Coffee, free plug.
Well, perfect. Let's go grab some coffee.
Bye-bye.